Hello and welcome to a special Tech Sideline video. We're recording today on Friday, October 24th from the Tech Solutions studio located in the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center. Remember to like, subscribe, and refer the show to a friend. I'm Cody Wagner, and sitting across the way from me, a special guest today, Fargo National Champion, multiple-time Pennsylvania State Champion, the #1 wrestling recruit in the class of 2026, who just a couple weeks ago announced his commitment to Virginia Tech. It's Bo Bassett, and producing the show, as always, behind the scenes, our director of media, Mr. Nick Brown. Bo, thanks for joining us. How was your trip down here?
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. My trip was great. I'm from Western Pennsylvania, so I'm a little bit closer to Virginia than if I was on the east side. So I'm really just straight down 81. I take it down the highway and I'm here. So I know a lot of my teammates are from Pennsylvania or New Jersey, and they got a little bit farther to go across the state. But I am straight down from Pennsylvania, 5 hours or so, and it's a nice drive. And I got here quick yesterday morning and got some training in. It felt like a full day.
Hey, well, I was told we'd be doing this podcast in the morning. I was a little concerned at first. I might have to get up at 5 to have to meet with you, but thankfully able to do it a little later in the morning. But you do these legendary 5 a.m. workouts. When did those start for you?
Yeah, so the 5 a.m. workouts, they caught a lot of steam online and kind of sparked a lot of interest for my social media side of things online. The 5 a.m. workouts started years ago, before I ever started like posting or making that into a kind of a brand of its own. But they started, I would say, almost 10 years ago. I've been doing that since elementary school, maybe not at 5 a.m., but getting something in before school. And I'm used to waking up early and getting it done. And it just really starts our day off in the right way. And we like to say we're working when others are sleeping.
What's your sort of more overall philosophy behind that? Does it allow you to get 2 workouts in a day, and how big is that for you?
Yeah, it's really awesome. So going to school, that's a long day. And I feel as though that when we're at school, maybe some other people in college or at a higher level are getting stuff in. So we feel as though that if we get one in before school, while others are sleeping, we're up on them already. And then we obviously get our afternoon workouts in after school as well. So it starts our day. And I feel like the days that I don't get up, I just feel worse. So I think it's part of the routine now, and something I'm probably going to bring to VTech, and I'm excited about that.
And you've obviously made some big improvements, advancements over the last couple of years. Do you accredit that to those 2-a-day workouts, those early morning workouts?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of that comes from the hard work, the consistent hard work. It's easy to do it for a day, but putting together day after day, stacking the days, stacking the weeks, it adds up over time, and it becomes years on years now. And since I can remember, we're getting up and we're getting that work in. And I think it's exciting to know that we're doing that when others are sleeping, and it's confidence come competition.
Well, Bo, you come from a great state for wrestling, what everyone around the country says is the best state for wrestling. How do you feel that prepares you for the next level?
I'm really excited to come down to Virginia Tech from Pennsylvania, start that pipeline. We have a really awesome high school team, and I know that there's a lot of younger guys that are fired up. They're fired up to have this pipeline, and being from Pennsylvania, wrestling's a really big deal from the day that you start when you're 6 years old. And for me, I was 6 and wrestling every single weekend. I love the sport from the time I started. So coming from a really awesome wrestling culture, I feel like I can use that to only just try to add to what we already have here and start that Pennsylvania pipeline and keep it strong.
Yeah, and then to talk about a little bit of the environment around you, you live with 2 of the top wrestlers in the whole state, your brother Keegan, and then, of course, Melvin Miller, who's currently 3rd in high school pound for pound. How big of a resource is being able to work with those 2 every day?
Yeah, they're here with me now, and we were getting training in today, and there's no place we'd rather be. I truly love being in Blacksburg, and my brothers love it too. And so living with them, I think, holds me to a high standard. We do everything together. Those are my best friends, and we're really fortunate to have each other. It's like a built-in practice partner, and they're always getting me really excited. I think it'd be much harder if I was on my own to train, to have success, but when you have those guys around you 24/7, we get to do it together, and it starts to be a family thing.
Yeah, another name I wanted to mention is Jax Forrest, who also goes to your high school. I mean, That kid's special. How is it working with him as well?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's great on the mat, off the mat. We were really excited to start the recruiting process the same year, and so we're both seniors now, and we started it last summer, and we wanted to go to the same place. That was the plan previously. We're really close. He ended up going to Oklahoma State, and he's going to do amazing things there. But having people that are like-minded in the room, in school, and around you always, I'm so appreciative of those people, and they've done a lot for me. And I think we're going to continue to have success. I wish we were together, and I'm not going to lie, I'm still trying to get him to Blacksburg, but he's doing great where he's at, and I wish him nothing but the best, but one of my best friends forever.
Yeah, and speaking of back home, during that recruiting, I saw a video, your coach back home says he's never heard you cuss. You just have this uplifting spirit to you. Where does that come from? Yeah,
I think I try to bring positivity to the room always, high energy. I think for me, one thing that I live by that I'm constantly reminded of in my mind is I only get one shot at life. So I'm going to try to smile as much as I can and really make the most of every opportunity. And yeah, I try to be a leader too. I'm at the age now where I'm a senior. So we always say that you're the biggest fish in the tank back home. And so I try to lead the right way. And then when I get to college, you're back to a way bigger size tank, and you're back to being the smaller fish. But I think being a leader from day one is something I want to try to do, just by bringing energy and effort and a good attitude always. But right now, I'm trying to be a good leader back home in Pennsylvania, and then try to bring it here to Virginia Tech.
I mean, Bo, frankly, what's it been like handling the, I guess, sort of chaos of the recruiting process? I've seen these videos where you're getting calls from like 20 people at the same time the night of when recruiting opens. What's that like handling that process? Yeah,
that was wild. I remember that night. It was pretty unbelievable. So at 12 a.m. is the first day. I believe it's June 15th. So the clock went from 11:59 to 12 a.m. And at 12, I think it was 15 calls at the same time. So that was, it could have been 15 different schools. I didn't know what was going on. And I've never seen my phone go crazy like that. But it was really awesome to go throughout that process. I made it known before that I was open. And for me, it was wherever God wanted to take me, where my family wanted me to be. And again, I'm really close to my brothers. And so we all had to feel like that was home. And yeah, the process was over a year long. Crazy stories from that, but it was super awesome to be able to finally find home. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited to be where I'm at.
Yeah, you mentioned God and family. Were there any other notable factors for you in this recruiting process?
Yeah, those are the two biggest ones. With God at the center, and then family being, basically the number one priority. I think that it's important to consider those things the most. And then thinking about things like proximity. I didn't want to be too far. I'm really close to my family, and then my extended family too. I have a lot of people back home that I talk to every single day, whether I'm home or I'm not. So I wanted to be somewhat close. I want people to come down and be able to see me wrestle, and my grandparents and my teammates and my coaches. And so that was important. And Virginia Tech, again, it's straight down one highway. It's not too far, which is sweet. And then I'm considering partners and coaches, and I truly believe that there's no staff that's going to go all in like Virginia Tech will. I love these guys, and they've put a lot into me already. I've only been here a couple of weeks as far as being committed, and they put everything into their wrestlers. And it's awesome to see that, because I'm going to give everything to them. So it's a great relationship that we have already. And then, the team feels like family, and I have a lot of great connections there.
Yeah, some of the main coaches I know that you've spoken with, Coach Roby, Coach Frere. What's your relationship like with those guys?
Yeah, so I had previous relationships with both of them. The wrestling world, going to the big events since I was younger, and being from Pennsylvania, you get to see a lot of the big time guys, the big time coaches, whether it's at camps or big national events. And so I've known these guys for a really long time, and they've been great. And that's one thing I feel like I valued about this coaching staff, is that they're not just amazing coaches. That's great. There's a lot of good coaches out there, but they're great humans and they're great people. And that was one thing that stood out about these guys. And now I think our relationship, it's only going to grow over the next 5 to 10, who knows how long years. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, some other things about Virginia Tech that's notable. Their great relationship with the Southeast Regional Training Center. How important is that to you? How aware of that were you coming in?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big deal. I want to wrestle after college. I want to wrestle through my freestyle career and a couple of cycles, hopefully, with the Olympics. And so I think that having a good RTC is important. Having good partners around my weight is important. So I considered that, and Southeast RTC is the real deal.
Yeah. And in Blacksburg, you have the opportunity to be the face of a program and really help grow the popularity of wrestling around campus. How much does that piece of it excite you?
It's pretty cool. I like to bring a lot of attention to the sport, and that's one thing I've tried to do since I was younger. There's a lot of buzz right now around Virginia Tech wrestling, and we're excited about that. And we know that with that buzz, we got to put in a lot of hard work, and we're really excited to compete. We're really excited to show out for the fans and for wrestling and get ourselves winning team trophies every single year and putting guys on the top of the podium. I think we're extremely capable of that, and I feel like this is home. I'm very excited.
Now, you've been to Blacksburg a couple different times. What do you like about the school atmosphere in Blacksburg overall?
Yeah, I like Blacksburg because I come from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and it's more of a smaller city, and there's not too much going on in Johnstown. When I come to Blacksburg, I feel like there's a ton going on, and I enjoy that. There's anything you could need food-wise. There's a ton to do. My brothers and I love coming down here. Right now, we're staying with Henson, and it's been great. What I like about Blacksburg is I think that there's a lot of students here, right? And so you're going to get a lot of the people that you're going to school with. I feel like the wrestling team is extremely close, and every weekend they're off. They're doing stuff together. Last night we were all at the Tubs recovering together. I feel like it's big, but it's also small at the same time. And so I like both components of that. And I feel like they get behind their athletics, they get behind their school, and they support really, really hard. So that's been great to see and great to feel.
Yeah, and have you really felt that support in the short time you've been here? I know as a student, it feels like Virginia Tech fans, there's not many more rabid than the ones here in Blacksburg.
Yeah, I felt it for sure. It's been awesome. So I committed a couple weeks back, and I've been getting tons of messages online, and then I've been here, I mean, just a little bit over 24 hours now. Yeah. And people were great. We got ice cream last night for the recruits, and people are coming up and, they're getting pictures and they're being really awesome, saying, we love Virginia Tech wrestling and we're excited for you guys. And so it's been really cool to feel that. I think with that comes a lot of, all right, let's do this. Let's work really hard so we can produce for Virginia Tech and really give these guys, a show when it's time.
Now, you've mentioned a couple of different factors. Ultimately, could you pin down one or two or maybe a couple as why Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I think I can break it down to a couple. I'll probably go really broad here, but I think that for me, faith was really important. And this coaching staff, they're great in the room. That's obvious. I mean, they go all in on their wrestlers. They really pour into these guys. But what they do as well is they're great humans, and who they are as people was extremely important to me. So being a great person, having great character, being really in tune with your faith. On my visit, they took us to church. It was a great experience. I mean, half the team was there. It was awesome to feel that. And then talking to the guys on how they've been able to develop in that way was huge for me. I think being here multiple times showed me that family culture that they have. And so, I mean, there came a time where I started to feel like I was a part of it, even before I committed. So that was something that was really important. I've been talking a lot to Reed, the team chaplain, and he's been great. He's not here this weekend, so I missed out on him this weekend, but he's been awesome helping me throughout that faith part of it and that family culture. And so I think that is one big point for me that was kind of the leader on why Virginia Tech was the family and the faith atmosphere that you're going to feel here. And then other than that, I'm really excited to be a part of this. You've got Henson, who's kind of done everything there is to do. He's a national champion. And so he's kind of leading the way for the guys right now. And so I want to come in and try to just add to what they already have. Start winning team trophies. Let's win some team titles, individual titles, and I mean, we've got a really awesome young squad coming together, some really good classes, and I'm excited for the future, and I see the potential in the future, and that makes us want to work extremely hard and gets us really excited.
Yeah, and how important is it to have a guy like Caleb Henson who has so much experience and really can help you? He's been to the highest level. He knows what it's like to win a national championship. How important is that to you?
It's huge. He's going to be my mentor. I'm going to have a really good relationship with Caleb, and I think that he's done everything there is to do, but he's extremely selfless about it. You wouldn't know. If you weren't a wrestling person, you just had a conversation with him, you would just think he's a really good person. But he's an unbelievable person. He's an unbelievable wrestler, and I think that he's very selfless. He's going to help me, and any question I ask, he's going to give me his all, trying to help me out. And I don't know that there's a lot of people like that at the highest level, who'd be willing to pour into a guy who wants to do that the way that he does. The way that he does. He gives everything. And so to have a guy like Caleb, I think it's going to help me more than I can even imagine. And so I'm going to make sure I use that resource as much as I can and learn from him as much as I can.
Yeah, so some broader wrestling stuff now, Bo. It's a big difference jumping from high school into college. I think one of the things that stands out to me most, where when you're a smaller guy in high school, say 113 as a freshman, you're wrestling against mostly underclassmen. Here you kind of get thrown into the deep end of the pool, if you will, right, as far as having to wrestle a lot of upperclassmen. How do you prepare for that? How do you handle that at the college level?
Yeah, it's definitely a big jump. One thing that we did from a young age, and that my dad really helped myself and my brothers do, is we would always wrestle up. So when I was 10 years old, we would wrestle the 12 and under division. Or when I was in middle school, I was wrestling high school. And I wrestled my first college open my sophomore year, going into my sophomore year. So it wasn't even really wrestling season yet for the high school, but I was a sophomore in November, and I wrestled the Clarion Open. And so I was wrestling starters for my sophomore year. And so I think it's important to chase competition, wrestle up, and be ready to go. Be ready to make that transition as smooth as possible. Doing things like I'm doing right now as far as getting down here to train and, be able to wrestle with these guys for 4 days a piece. That's important too. I'm being able to transition my senior year, so then next year it's a lot smoother and a lot easier. But I know it's a big jump, and I know I'm probably going to go into 08 where there's going to be a ton of seniors and a ton of guys that have done it, All-American or national champions. And so it's going to be really exciting to wrestle those guys. But I feel as though that I've prepared myself so far the best as I can. And so I'm going to try to continue to do that, listen to exactly what the coaches tell me, and be ready when I get my call.
Yeah. What are your ultimate goals, would you say, in the world of wrestling, in collegiate wrestling, and then beyond?
At Virginia Tech, I feel as though I can achieve all the goals that I have. But some of those that I have is, obviously, you want to win individual titles, and you want to leave your mark and your legacy as who you are as an individual. That's, of course. But I think something at Virginia Tech that I believe that we can do is we can win team trophies, and we can win team titles, and we can put the ACC up there with the Big Ten, and we can really grow wrestling right here in Blacksburg. And I know that we can do that. And I think that with the team that we have and the recruits that we're getting and the people that are on visits now that we can potentially bring in, I think we've got an insane future. And so that excites me, I feel like, more so than the individual stuff, because my brother's coming here too, right? And he's going to be a part of the team. And now Caleb's redshirting, and he's a part of the team. And we've got a really young squad, a lot of guys that I just saw already. I mean, we have a workout in, and it's still in the morning on a game day, and I have a feeling guys are going to be in there again before game day. So guys are locked in, and I'm excited for the team goals that we have set out as well as the individual ones.
And then for everything that you've personally accomplished, what keeps you motivated and so hungry?
I think that there's a lot of things that keep me motivated. When I signed with Virginia Tech, that was a huge spark. That lit the fire for me, because now I see it. Like, I see the future. I know where I'm going to be. I can go all in. I started recruiting the day I committed. It's totally something that I got excited about. I started sending out messages. I'm like, hey, coach, who do we want? Who are we going after? And I'm gonna try to help this program in all ways that I can. that keeps me motivated because I want to win individually, but I want to win team trophies too. And I know that takes 10 strong guys. And right now they've got 10 strong guys, and we got to continue to do that. So I feel like I try to put it on myself a little bit as a responsibility to keep reloading with great recruits, and that's going to take us reaching out and making them feel like it's home, the same way that guys on the team did for me. That keeps me motivated for one. I think my faith keeps me motivated. I truly believe that I can use my platform in wrestling to grow my faith and to plant the seed for others. My main goal in life is to make heaven crowded. And so if I can do that through my wrestling, I think, there's no better way to do it. I mean, God gave me this platform, so why wouldn't I use it to grow his kingdom? That's two. And then I think the final thing that keeps me motivated is I do it with my family. And my brother's going here, and then my little brother, I got a good feeling he's going to be going here. And so I'm going to have, skin in the game. And these guys are all going to become my brothers, but it's going to be really cool to have my true blood brothers with me on the team and really try to create, a legendary team and the greatest team that we've ever had.
And you've talked a lot personally about setting records, standing out at the high school level. How did it feel to become the first time, 4-time boys champ at Super 32? Yeah,
it was pretty insane. That tournament's been going on for an extremely long time, and it was crazy. I think last year, out of the 10 NCAA champions, it was like 8 or 9 of them, medaled at Super 32, All-American at Super 32. And so it was really cool to see, like, okay, the guys that are winning here, like that's who's winning at the NCAAs. And there's been a lot of legends that came through Super 32, a couple 3-timers, but to break through and get that 4th one was huge. It was an honor. It was a blessing. But I'd been wrestling high school in that division since 8th grade. And my 8th grade year is the one that not a lot of people talk about because I didn't win. But I got 2nd place in the high school division in 8th grade. And I think that was really a turning point in my high school career, but I feel as though that'll be a turning point for the rest of my career because that motivates me to this day. And I don't believe I would have won 4 if I hadn't taken that loss. So that was a big point in my career and in my life, really. But it was an honor, and it was pretty cool to be able to have that record.
Yeah, how exactly did you see that as a turning point and kind of a motivating factor going forward?
Yeah, so bumping up is something that we've done from a young age, and wrestling older guys, trying to seek out competition. We had the idea, like, hey, let's see what we can do. So I bumped to high school, was wrestling guys that were committed to college or just way older and pretty big. And so for me, it was, okay, I can wrestle fearless. I have nothing to lose. I made the finals and then took a loss to a guy who I said to myself, all right, we're going to chase this guy down. But when I took that loss, I think it lit a fire for me. That was a lot of motivation. I told myself that day, like, I'm never losing again at Super 32. We're gonna be there every year, put it on the line, and try to go get these, go get the belt. And I got that guy 365 days later. Went exactly what weight he was going. Wrestled in the finals again. And took him out and got revenge. And that was the last time we've wrestled. So I got the last win. But he's doing amazing things now. He actually ended up being a 3-time champ there. And, I think that was a turning point because it motivates me to this day.
Yeah, and there's been a number of legendary moments that you've produced yourself at Super 32. One of them that stands out to me the most, the match against Daniel Zepeda last year, the 10-7 win over him. How do you feel after that win, given the magnitude?
Well, now that I'm looking back on it, I feel a lot better because he's from NC State. So that was a big win. Huge to take out a guy from NC State, but I have nothing but respect for Daniel, and he's done a great job in his high school career. I mean, he's probably a legend in California forever. And so I think that, we had a rivalry going on at that point. And I've gotten the last 3, I believe, over him. So that has been good. I'm sure we're going to wrestle here in college. I don't know if we'll be the same weight, but we're right around the same weight. So that'll be pretty exciting. But the Super 32 match went to overtime. And so those, to me, are like the craziest and coolest matches. It was a high-scoring match. It was 7-7 going into overtime. And the crowd felt like they were on top of us. But to come out of the scramble on top was huge. And it means even more now that he's from NC State.
Yeah, and what's the mentality? How are you able to push so late into these matches where, that match it's chaos. It's scrambles. It's back and forth. It's If you haven't watched it out there, folks, I highly recommend it. Bo Bassett, Daniel Zepeda at Super 32. I mean, how are you able to push that late, that deep into a match?
I believe that it comes back to your training. And so you got to believe in your training, and then you've got to back it up with the right way. And so the idea that we think about is we like to train and live in 30 feet. And so when we go out on the mat, we take our opponent, we take this guy to 30 feet. And if they're not used to living there, they're going to drown. And so we really try to push the pace from the beginning of the match till the end. From the start, I like to say I try to sprint throughout the entire match and make it exciting. Like, I want people to be excited to watch wrestling. And so I try to bring a style that does that and score a lot of points. And if there's points flying, I'm happy, I'm excited. And I just believe it comes back to the training and the belief in that training, that we live a way that these other people don't. And if they do, it's going to be fun to go to 30 feet with them.
And where do you go mentally during a match like that? Are you just locked in the moment, or do you go elsewhere?
Yeah, I think I'm locked in the moment. I try to stay calm. If it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 sleeping, 10 bouncing off the walls, I think I'm like a 7. I try to get pretty excited, but again, I got to keep my mind clear. So there's not a lot of time to think during the matches, but you've got to problem solve, and you've got to make sure that you're making adjustments where you need to. But when you're out there, it's a lot of flowing and falling back to your training. You fall to the level of your training. And so I try to train at a really high level and make the adjustments that I need to and control the things I can control.
And as you mentioned earlier, you're a guy that throws nonstop offense. You're always coming forward. You're always throwing something new at your opponents. How big of a factor do you think cardio is for you, and how exactly do you weaponize it during matches? Yeah,
I think that cardio's a factor. Like, it's the X factor, really, is what we say back home. I think that strength's important, mental toughness is important, and technique's important. But if you don't have cardio, it's going to show. It's going to show big time late in a match. And in those biggest matches, I feel as though that it can be the biggest factor. If a guy is still going at 100% and he's still sprinting in the third period, he's going to be extremely hard to beat. And you're going to even up. You know, if a guy's better than you at the beginning of the match, but your cardio's there, you're going to catch him. And by the end of the match, you're probably passing that guy up, and you're going to start, putting points on the board quickly. But we put a lot of time into our cardio and being able to go late in the match. We know that in deep waters, God is with us, and we know that's when we fall back to our training.
And a lot of people question weight cutting and what potentially that may have to do in terms of cardio. What's your philosophy with weight cutting? How much do you do? How much do you try to dial it back? Just what are your thoughts overall?
I'm a huge team guy. So in high school, for example, my freshman year, we had Jax Forrest, and he was a little bit bigger than me. And he was going 20. So my options were, I could say, hey, do you want to go 26? Or that year, I made the cut down to 13, and our best lineup was him at 20, me at 13, and then my cousin at 26. And, that year it was go down for the team, and I had to make a sacrifice. And the years past, it was go up. And so really, I'm a team guy. I do whatever the team needs. Nobody in here, in our team, or probably ever in the history of our team, likes to cut weight, but it's something that if we need to do it, I'm going to do whatever it takes for what's best. And, yeah, I think whatever the coaches tell me, I'm going to do. But the past 3 years, I haven't cut much weight. But freshman year for the team, we were top 5 in the country. It was time to sacrifice. In the past couple of years, I went up. Forrest went down. A couple guys went down. And so it's important to be able to sacrifice and do what's best and being selfless. And there's a lot of selfless guys on the team to learn from, and a lot of good role models. So I think for me, it's whatever they need.
Yeah, in recent years, as you mentioned, you haven't cut as much weight. How do you feel that helps your performance? You aren't having to necessarily deplete yourself as much before a match.
Right. I think you can come out of the gate feeling unbelievable. I mean, you feel like you do in your training, and sometimes when you cut weight, things can be off, factors can be off, and that can definitely throw your performance off. You got to get in tune with your body. I mean, Virginia Tech Wrestling, they've got Clint. He does an unbelievable job. I'm excited to work with him. I've never had like a nutritionist, a sports, like he is locked in on our supplements and getting us down to weight and how we feel and our performance and cardio and all that stuff. And so I'm excited to work with him. if I'm going down, if I'm going up, whatever it is, because I'm going to feel great. And I know that he's going to make sure that I'm doing everything right. I'm excited to dial in and have a great performance, whether I'm cutting or whether I'm going up.
I feel like a lot of sports, you always hear the talk, like the thing that changes at the college level is strength. And a lot of these guys doing a lot more strength work. I think it's a little different in wrestling, but you especially have gotten ahead of the 8 ball. I see that you got those weights down in the basement. How much does strength work mean to you?
Strength is huge. We put a lot of time into our strength. We do a couple different, I guess, phases of our strength. My dad does a lot of our strength training. We'll do some circuit stuff. We've tried to model what they're doing here at Virginia Tech as much as we can. But I think strength is a huge factor, and it's something that we're preparing to be able to go into college and not have to adjust too much. We want to be ready to go, match the strength of these guys. And the ultimate goal is to be the strongest guy in your weight. Pound for pound, you are the strongest guy. And we want guys, when they come off the mat and they wrestle us, they want to think in their mind like, dang, that guy was extremely strong. And you think about it, any loss that you've ever had, me thinking back, I don't ever come off the mat and say, man, that guy was weak. Like, you're just not. You're going to be like, man, that guy was strong every single time. And so it's something to think about, to put a lot of time into, and we're going to be ready to make that transition. And I'm excited to get into their strength program too.
Well, in high school, you've been able to win so many big competitions. To me, it was so impressive the way you dominated your way through the Pennsylvania State Championships last year. Tech falling your way through the tournament and then pinning your opponent in the finals. Do you have any secrets to success or things that you think puts you over the top?
I think one thing that is a little bit different, I think I hear a lot of times, is people are afraid to give up points, or they're afraid to lose, or they're afraid to get tired. And I'm not really afraid of any of those things. Like, I know that they're possible, but I've surrendered that. I know that whatever happens is God's plan, and I know that my style and who I am is sprint. It's smile, it's enjoy the moment, and it's to sprint, and it's give everything I have, and really try to bring that mindset of going all in. And I think that sets me apart, just my mindset and being confident that I can go this full match and feel great and try to put up points on the board, and knowing that if I give up points, I've got the whole match to come back and score more. But I feel like I'm fearless, and I'm not afraid to lose and seek out that competition. And I think with that, you almost, like, guys going into the match, they know it's going to go to deep waters, and they know in order to beat you, they're going to have to wrestle at an extremely high pace. And I think that plays a factor in their minds as well. And I enjoy that, because I know that if I wrestle 100 matches, let's say, in the next couple of years, that I'm going to sprint 100 times. And I'm excited to do that. I love doing that. I love feeling tired, but knowing in the back of my mind, if I'm tired, like, they got to be exhausted. That's what I always try to tell myself. And, it's exciting to do that stuff. And at the state tournament in specific, you're wrestling a good guy from the first round on. It's Pennsylvania. The stands are packed. The wrestlers are dialed in. It's a big deal. And to be able to score as many points as I can was big. And then in the finals, getting the pin, we had a chance at the team title. So it was important to be able to try to get the fall there for the team. And we ended up coming up a little bit short. On the team race, we got second in the state, but we were also second in the country as well. And I think a lot of our team brings that mindset, and it kind of sets the whole team apart of sprinting.
Bo, and I think that's the reason why so many people love the way you wrestle. They love your style. Do you kind of, in a way, I guess, play to the audience, or is that just the way you love to wrestle?
I think it's the way I love to wrestle. It's kind of newer. Some of the best guys in college right now are sprinting and scoring a ton of points, but I want to just bring a whole wave of that. I want the young guys now to start doing it and just bring it up, because I think it's more exciting. The fans definitely enjoy it, but even if the fans didn't, I love wrestling that way. So I feel like that's what I want to bring every time. Sometimes you give up points, but that makes it more exciting, because then you got to go get more. And high flying, scoring points, wrestling at a high pace, and really trying to maximize your 7 minutes.
Yeah, and as far as broader stuff goes, what does it mean to be a part of multiple age group U.S. national teams and represent the U.S. on a larger scale?
There's nothing like it. Up to this point, there's no place like competing at the World Championships. I feel like NCAAs is definitely might pass it up. It's definitely gonna be awesome. But the environment at Worlds unbelievable. You go there and you're wrestling the national champ from whatever country they're from every single time. So you got to be ready to go. And I've been to Worlds twice now. I've been to the Pan Am Games 3 times. What the Pan Ams are is that's just North and South America, all those countries. It's kind of like your continental championship. But the World Championships, I feel like, set themselves apart. With USA on the back, your last name, right? You've got your flag. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like feeling that. They announce your name every single time you walk out and representing United States of America. Like, there's nothing like that. Wrestling the Iranian, wrestling the Russian, wrestling the guy from Japan. Like, there's no feeling. And I enjoy that. I'm excited to make teams here at Virginia Tech through the RTC and try to represent not only Virginia Tech, but the whole United States of America. And it's going to be pretty cool to do that coming out of Blacksburg. And I know that what we have here, we have the guys, we have the coaching staff, and we have the resources to be able to make teams. And it's going to be an exciting couple of cycles.
Well, you're also quite the hot commodity in terms of the world of wrestling at large. How have you handled the sort of level of fame and recognition you've gotten?
Yeah, it's definitely been weird to handle because to me it's just fun. It's just like a hobby. Like, wrestling is what I love to do. It's not who I am, but it's definitely what I do and what I put a lot of time into. And so on the side, I tried to grow my brand through social media for a long time now. I've been doing it since middle school, even just getting into middle school age. And it's been pretty cool to build that brand and to build wrestling as a platform and just grow the sport. And I only try to put out positive things, only try to put out things that people can be inspired by or learn from or get excited about. And so that's really the overarching idea of why I do it, to grow the kingdom of God and to grow the sport. But it's been pretty cool to be able to do that through the sport that I love, and I feel like I'd be doing it anyway. So it's definitely an interesting process that we go through, but I wouldn't change it.
Well, Bo, we wanted to get to know you a little better, so we got some quick rapid fire questions here for you before we get out of here. So,
sweet.
Firstly, single leg or double leg?
I'm going double leg.
Dream sparring partner?
Dream sparring partner, man. Coach Frayer. I got him today at 2. I learned so much from him. I'm gonna go Coach Frayer.
Folk style or freestyle?
Folk style, because it's folk style season right now.
Favorite sport outside of wrestling?
Football. Big football guy.
Steak or chicken?
Steak.
Rap or country music?
Country music.
Fruits or vegetables?
Fruits.
Orange or maroon?
Maroon.
And your favorite activity outside of wrestling?
My favorite activity outside of wrestling, I like hanging out with my brothers. Huge football fan, big Steelers guy from Western Pennsylvania. You got to be a Steelers fan. So I would say watching football, hanging out with my brothers, and we have a hunting camp as well up top on Pennsylvania. So pretty awesome spot.
Well, so thankful that Bo Bassett was able to be here with us today. Continue to keep up with us here at Tech Sideline as we move forward with our coverage of the 2025 football season and continue to get you ready for the upcoming winter sports season. Well, that does it for now. With Nick Brown producing, our fantastic guest, Bo Bassett, I'm Cody Wagner saying goodbye, and we'll talk to you soon.